special? Like, stop eating the paste special?
Speaking of which, David, I'm going to need you to come and look at the apartment with me.
Okay, why would I do that?
Yesterday, I was scraping some gunk off my wall sockets with a metal fork, and I gave myself the nastiest shock. And when I came to, I had an epiphany.
It is the Al Travis Show. We generally love Shannon Watson when she's on with the majority in the middle, but today I'm concerned it's going to get feisty. Shannon, how are you?
I'm good. And I actually probably should start with, if you hear a weird, like, snoring noise coming from my end of the Zoom stream, it's the dog. It's not that your program is boring.
You really don't hear that. That's just so funny. And this is a true story off deal. Back when I did radio up in Brainerd, this is 35 years ago. Yeah. Had this farmer that listened evidently, and he sent a letter to the radio station, said that when he milked cows, the Al Travis Show was the best thing for him. He had us on in the barn because it just made the cows relaxed. Cows and dogs, that's me. I don't know. It's a true story. And I'm like, I didn't know how to take it. You know, I was a young buck thinking it was all that in the radio. And I'm like, I'm putting cows to sleep while being milked. That can't be good. Just over.
That says a lot of things and sends me down some paths that are probably not appropriate for radio.
All right. I'm just telling you what it is. All right. Couple of deals, and we'll get to the contentious one that you and I are going to argue about in a second. I'm miffed. The longer this goes, the more miffed I am. A naked guy. Yeah. Blame the naked guy. He just points out the problem.
Really
naked guy.
Fascinated by the naked guy.
Well, on all levels, you know, let's just say you're not running all 8 cylinders and you're able to get yourself into the Capitol. That's one thing. Doing it naked, right. You know, washing in the ladies' room, calling yourself governor. I have a real hard time with, I don't know what the bar is to call yourself nuts, that he didn't get a night to stay somewhere to get some help. You know what I'm saying? If that isn't a low enough bar.
You know what?
What the heck is?
There's the bar, but there's also like a resource availability question, you know?
I don't disagree, but oh my God, how many people are the governor naked in the Capitol or whatever? What is the bar that, again, I use this Opie thing. Andy's he's not arrested. He's going to be able to get out as soon as he stops calling himself the governor. We put him in a little jail cell, sit there and wear it off. You know, Opie used to be able to do that, or whatever, Otis back on the Griffith show. There's got to be something we didn't do this guy any favors. We made him walk back across the lawn a couple, 3 times. You know, I want more. So that's one thing that bothers me. But what gets me about it is, I've been talking to Hoffman. God love Hoffman, and he's doing fine. He's getting better every day. More surgeries. They're fixing all this stuff.
Great speech at NCSL yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Via video, of course, yes.
But it teased me off when I see it. And then, you know, I had Gustafson on earlier today. Yep. Senators that... she was quite scared that day. Rightfully so, right? I mean, we put these guys through something. And this was I'm going to say deranged. This guy was off-bubble guy who had enough faculties to plan the thing, right? From the list to the getting the mask and the police outfit and do all that.
Right.
And he's off-bubble. Naked guy's off-bubble. I'll put him in the same canister. We're not working on 8 cylinders. But what if a really bad guy who wasn't off-level wanted to do something?
Yeah.
He needs a $2. I keep showing this to you. It's the doorstop at the office here. It keeps the $2. It's rubber. This got him into the Capitol. And if you're a really mean, nasty person who wasn't off bubble, I mean, this guy, naked guy, is supposed to be a pretty nice guy. Evidently, no one's. Think of the damage you could do. It has to be harder, Shannon. It has to. And whoever, and especially 6 weeks, 8 weeks after the shootings, you would think everybody in that line of work would have said, we got to step up our game. They didn't. I don't know who to blame, but this can't be it.
Right. Well, and I won't necessarily say that's an isolated incident because, I mean, the challenge with the Capitol being a public building and being the people's house and being as open as it is, like, there is a teeter-totter between security and liberty. And that is one of the big questions. I mean, seriously.
God love you, but you and Heather Gustafson. Oh my. Okay, we all agree with that. I
Yes.
want the Capitol open. I don't want metal detectors. Or I should say that I want metal detectors, but I want you to go through and if you sign up, hey, I'm carrying. I want you to know I'm carrying. We know guys who are carrying. We know
Right.
that. I want you to register that you're carrying into the Capitol. I'm
Yeah.
not opposed to because then those that don't that want to do bad things, guess what? You got to go through a metal detector. Okay, I'm not that guy, but I am going to tell you that I expect, even with the most open place we got, the end of the day at 5 o'clock, 6, whatever time, at the end of the business day,
Right.
we go check all the doors. That's so minimum. I do that at my house. I'm paranoid. I'm an what is it? OCD on it.
Yeah.
Before bed, I wander the doors of my house, and the window, and I make sure they're closed and locked.
Yep.
This isn't the Capitol. I'm not getting paid to do it. It's my little house.
Right. Well, and like I'm. You're right.
I know
And-
you have a hard
and
time blaming
you-
anybody. Somebody messed up.
Well, yeah, somebody messed up, and I don't necessarily think it needs to end anybody's career.
Nope.
It helped show a vulnerability, and that's the thing. Like, if you glance at the same door 100 times and it's always locked, and it's always, whatever. The fact that somebody has propped it open, and that thing wasn't waving around. It was like in the bottom. Sometimes some of these doors, you glance at them, you think they're closed. You wouldn't necessarily.
Okay, Shannon, we're not glancing anymore. This is my point.
Right.
Every business,
Yes.
every business in Minneapolis and St. Paul isn't doing a glance. Yeah, I think we're good. Everyone else can manage their closed doors. And then you have to actually break in. People can still break in. I'm not
Right.
saying they won't, but
Right.
the shoehorn.
I also
goodness.
don't know how many doors are in the Capitol. And, and that's the thing. You're right. Like, there is, I'm sure, somebody pulling on the door now every single time.
And we should have expected that since the shootings, at least. We should have expected it from the time we put the building up.
Except, so here's this sort of false dichotomy of the shootings at people's homes and the Capitol. Like, lawmakers are in the Capitol every day, all day for 100 and whatever years.
Yep.
There hasn't been the shooting there. Just the assumption that
That's what they
some
got.
deranged person went to people's homes equates with they're going to come shoot up the Capitol. That is a false equivalency.
See, we talked about it in the show. They got shot at home, and we're all worrying about the Capitol getting more. I don't put the two together. What I put together is how many years ago did we redo the Capitol? 5, 10 years ago, with $250 million or something. It's
Something
beautiful.
like that. Yeah.
Beautiful Capitol. I was against doing it. Then I went in there, and the thing shines like it's beautiful. But I honestly thought for $250 million, and I say security. My buddy's cabin has a little button thing. You got to push all the buttons, and then you can get in, and you got to disarm it by the time, within 30 seconds or whatever. Because all the doors and windows have like a magnetic thing, and when they're closed, and if someone opened one.
Uh-oh, where'd your... I can't tell if I'm broadcasting still and Al is frozen, or if I'm frozen. But if you're still hearing me, stay tuned to the Al Travis Show. He'll come back. I hope. All right, Al has since disappeared from my screen. Let's see if we're going to get him back. I feel like I should be providing content or something for just in case we're still going. If you're listening to this on the radio, keep listening. It's not Al's fault. Hey, there's Al again. Showing up, can't hear him yet, can't see him yet. And there he is.
Thank God.
I have no idea if we kept recording or kept broadcasting, but I
went to break as soon as you looked like you froze. I went to break. Could have been on my side as well. I have no idea if it's continuing on. It might be the weirdest thing on YouTube short. I have no idea.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So
I led with, we will come back with what you are mad at me about, and it should be quite contentious. It's a good hook. Get people listening. I'm good with that.
Oh.
All right. 30 seconds.
Okay.
A as in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
And we've got her back. I don't know whose fault that was. I got all kinds of weird stuff going on here. I've got her, Shannon Watson, majority in the middle. With the contentious part of the program, I think she's ready to just dive down on me. You must have listened to yesterday's show, as I was kind of getting on Secretary of State Steve Simon, because the federal government, and it didn't just ask Minnesota, but they asked everybody, we want to see your voter rolls. We want to go through these, call them, make sure dead people aren't voting, whatever. They asked for them from all 50 states, and we have decided no. Mr. Simon said, no, we're not going to do that. Which I said yesterday, and I'm still the contention. It's kind of like when you go in front of a judge or whatever, I plead the fifth. That's not supposed to hurt your image, right? You plead the fifth, whatever. But it does make you seem like you're hiding something. Simon says that he believes we have the best voter rolls ever. They're great. Everything's good. And I believe him. I've met him a couple times. But then when he says, but I'm not, now it's like, ooh, why not? If the government gets it and everything's perfect, you're going to get a great A rating. It'll prove that he's correct. It's the not handing over that almost seems guilty. I don't know guilty of what, but you get my point.
The challenge is that based on what, like you mentioned that he was on Tom Hazard's show, at issue, which I thought was a good explanation of what he did. He said on that show, he sent some things that he is allowed to send, but based on Minnesota law, there are things that are non-public data that he's not allowed to send. And he did say that for now, he has declined while the legislature isn't in session. If the legislature comes back and says, yes, we're going to make it, part of the law to be able to send these things to the federal government, then he will do that because he will follow the law. But right now, the information that's being asked for is non-public data. It doesn't matter if I have it, if you have it, if Steve Simon has it, if it's permissible for me to have it, but not permissible for me to share it, then in order for Steve Simon to do that, he would have to break the law, and he's not going to do that.
No, and I get his point, but it's the circle thing that we make up in the state. Here's my point, because he said it was three things. I wrote them down.
Yeah.
Social security numbers, military service, and driver's licenses.
Yeah.
Well, military service, as an ex-military guy, the federal government already knows. I was there from 1983 to 1986, or 1989, and they know exactly what it is. It's not a secret to the federal government. My social security number is the exact same thing. Not a secret to anybody, because they wrote it to me. They gave it to me. They know my number. It's not a hidden. This is not something they're looking for. So it comes down to me with the driver's licenses, and only because I just went and got that stupid real one, right? Well, what? I gave him a gallon of my blood. I had to do a fingerprint. Had to bring a neighbor by, say that's who I was. Got to have an extra bill, and then my social security number.
Yeah.
Did the whole thing. Because the
Right?
state of we said Minnesota's going to have to get this thing. Now we're the last one to do it, but they already said we had. So for me to get on a plane in Minnesota, they got my driver's license. The federal government has my driver's license. I had to do this to get on a plane.
Yeah.
So what is it we're keeping? The only thing I think, and this is, I'm going to tell you I'm being conspiracy theory. The only thing that they wouldn't have, the federal government, is illegal immigrants who got the driver's license, who aren't voting, aren't getting on planes. They got a driver's license for Minnesota in case they get picked up. So that is the only thing I can think of. All the stuff he said, that's the subgroup that the federal government doesn't already have the info.
But that's part of the point, is that there are a lot of safeguards to make sure that people who are undocumented, who do get a driver's license in Minnesota as the law was passed, they do not wind up on the voter rolls. There are like 6 checkpoints between getting a driver's license and getting on a voter roll that they make sure that that doesn't happen. And so if that's what they're looking for, they're not going to find that person on the voting roll.
Well,
and it's not necessarily the federal government's job to double check the Minnesota voting rolls.
And again, I'm trying to figure out what is it they do want. The federal government, as much as I can tell, is not looking for things just to do to waste time. So if it isn't that, well, you roll your eyes. Then the only other thing would be how many dead people are voting, right? Because they found some guy 150 years old getting Social Security check, whatever that thing was. They're worried about that. So they can check it, cross-reference it. I don't know. It only, again, wouldn't have cared. I want to see how many, because they asked blue states and red states. This isn't we're going after, Walls' state because we hate Walls. This is, everybody got asked. It just seems strange to me. They have 99% of that info. The only thing we're saving is those that don't fit in.
That would be the question. If you have 99% of the information, why are you asking for something that you don't have, that you are not legally, that Steve is not legally, I'm sorry, Secretary Simon is not legally allowed to share?
And this isn't me ripping him. If that is the law in Minnesota, that we have a thing that we can't share, then he can't do it. Got it. But when they get back, they're going to have to discuss this, because by then other states will have already sent it in. I presume not everybody's got the same rules as we do. So we got to go after it.
I believe what Secretary Simon said on that program was that he sent the information that he's legally allowed to send.
But okay, you and I know this because the Democrats, Republicans, anybody, independent parties, they go get that information every year. I think it costs $47. Can I see who voted in my district or whatever? That's pretty wide open. That's kind of my point. So I try to figure out what they don't have. And I can only tell it's illegal immigrants. It's the only thing they're looking for. They're fishing for. What else would it be? Or dead people. I don't know.
I don't think you're going to find.
Which I don't think so. I'm not calling for his head. I think the guy's doing what he's supposed to do. I'm just saying it looks bad when we say no, and I want to know why. Now,
I think it looks good when we say no, that Steve is Secretary Simon is following the law. He's protecting the data from people who are not supposed to have it. If they have it, then they don't need it. And any the challenge to the conspiracy theories of it looks bad and Steve is a DFLer and so he is hiding something from the Republican federal government. The problem with that is that the couple of instances of people who were getting caught doing fraudulent voting in this state were not from Steve Simon's side of the aisle.
No, and again, but again, the one, if you look back, something he did, we only have a minute, I'm going to mess this up.
Okay.
One is with that they also took for precautionary reasons, all the addresses of all the candidates and all the elected officials off of the website, which makes a lot of sense until you think, wait a minute, there's some guy just last election who didn't live in his district and then got, kicked out for not living in his district. If you don't list him, how can Al? Well, that's not in my district. I even look into it.
You can go to the Secretary of State's office and ask for that information, and he will give it to you because he is legally allowed, or he is legally allowed to, and he's supposed to. So it's not that nobody's looking at that information. It's just that he's not broadcasting it on the internet, and I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I agree with that because again, safety reasons. But now I'm saying I think we have to vote it in that Steve Simon has to say, the address you gave us is in the district. You don't have to worry about it. He could verify that. I sit here. I'm on one side of a district for me. Across the road is another one. Yeah. And I don't know how, it's.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, it's confusing. Am I 6 or am I 7? It gets confusing. I don't expect everybody to know if that's in my district or not. Maybe we got to make, Google Maps figure that out for us. I got to fly. I'm out of time.
Awesome.
Love having you on. It's Majority in the Middle, majoritymiddle.com. Appreciate you.
Good to see you, sir. Oh no, he froze again. He froze or I froze. I don't know. Okay, cool. I'm gonna leave the thing. Thank you, viewers.